Sometimes, rock bottom isn't a dramatic crash or a single, shattering moment that changes everything. More often, it's a slow, silent unraveling, a quiet fading of color from your world, so gradual you barely notice until it's almost gone. My life looked perfect on the outside. I smiled, I showed up, I played my part. But inside, I felt empty and disconnected, as if I was watching my own life from a distance. I was exhausted, going through the motions every day, and the joy I once felt was gone, replaced by a heavy sense of fatigue. I became numb, unable to feel even the good things, and the world seemed muted, as if I was living behind glass. The pain was a dull ache, a constant sense of absence from my own life, like I was missing from my own story. Eventually, I couldn't pretend anymore. The weight was too much to carry alone, and the mask began to slip. Admitting I was not okay was terrifying, but it was also the first real step forward, the first time I allowed myself to be honest. Acknowledging the fall meant ending the performance and finally facing the truth, no matter how vulnerable it made me feel. It was the beginning of something real, a chance to rebuild, to find hope, and to start again with honesty and courage. Rock bottom is uncomfortable, a place most of us try to avoid at all costs. It's a space where the weight of our mistakes and disappointments feels almost unbearable, and the silence can be deafening. It's filled with shame and fear, a sense of being exposed and vulnerable, as if the world can see every flaw and failure. I sat in the dust, overwhelmed by the voices telling me I wasn't enough, haunted by memories of what I'd lost and the dreams that slipped away. I let myself feel the pain and grief for the life I thought I was supposed to have, mourning the version of myself I could no longer be. Everything felt uncertain. Who was I without the roles and approval I'd clung to for so long? The future seemed blurry, and my sense of identity was shaken. This wasn't about fixing things. It was about sitting with discomfort and facing myself honestly, without distraction or denial. The outside noise faded, and I was left alone with my thoughts, forced to confront the truth I'd been avoiding. I confronted my insecurities and fears, stripped of pretense, and allowed myself to be seen, even if only by me. It was raw and painful, but necessary. In that darkness, I realized that healing could only begin when I stopped running from my feelings. True strength, I learned, is found in vulnerability, in the willingness to be open and honest about our struggles. Allowing myself to feel, to cry, to just be, was an act of courage, a quiet rebellion against the urge to numb or escape. Rock bottom became a quiet space for healing, a place where I could finally listen to my heart and begin to rebuild. In the silence, I began to see the possibility of change, the faintest glimmer of hope shining through the cracks. The real work of healing started there, in the quiet acceptance of my pain and the gentle promise of something new. After the dust settled, I started asking the hard questions. What choices brought me here? What beliefs no longer served me? I journaled my fears and longings, seeing patterns of self-abandonment and fear of judgment. I asked myself, what truly matters to me? My answers were simple: connection, creativity, peace, and purpose. This self-reflection became my compass out of the darkness. I learned that my struggles made me human, not broken. Building self-worth from within was the foundation for change. Rebuilding started with small, intentional steps, tiny choices that slowly added up to something meaningful. I realized that healing wasn't a single moment, but a series of gentle shifts in my daily life. I reached out to trusted friends and shared my truth. They met me with empathy, not judgment. Their support reminded me that I wasn't alone, and that vulnerability could be a source of connection. Setting boundaries was hard, but each no was a yes to myself. I learned that protecting my energy was an act of self-respect, not selfishness. I sought therapy, which gave me tools to understand and heal. Through honest conversations, I discovered patterns and found new ways to cope. Asking for help became an act of strength. I realized that reaching out was a sign of courage, not weakness. I reintroduced joy and creativity, walks in nature, old hobbies, moments of play. These simple pleasures brought lightness back into my days. These small acts helped me reconnect with myself. I started to notice the quiet moments of peace that had always been there, waiting for me. Healing wasn't about perfection. It was about progress. Every small achievement, no matter how minor, was worth celebrating. Each step was a declaration that my well-being mattered. I began to trust myself again, honoring my journey. I learned to honor my needs and values, making choices that reflected who I truly was and what I wanted for my future. Slowly, I began to feel whole again, discovering a sense of hope and belonging within myself that I hadn't felt in a long time. Rising from rock bottom isn't an end, it's a new beginning. My fall became a source of strength, not shame. I discovered resilience. Failure is part of growth, not something to fear. I learned to live authentically, guided by my own values. I'm more willing to be seen, imperfections and all. True belonging comes from self-acceptance, not performance. If you're in a dark place, be gentle with yourself. Your story matters. Reach out, ask for help, and take small, brave steps. The journey is messy, but it's yours. The fall isn't the end. It's the start of a braver, more authentic chapter.